Alright, picture this. Senior leadership just rolled out a new 5 year plan. And it's bold, it's ambitious, and honestly, it's beautiful. The presentation was slick, the vision was inspiring, and the goals seem crystal clear. But as you walk to your desk, you get that familiar sinking feeling, a pit in your stomach. You look at your team who are already drowning in their day to day work, and then you look at this glossy document in your hand. You know with a gut wrenching certainty that by the end of next quarter, this brilliant strategy will be completely be dead on arrival. You're stuck between a huge idea and a team that has no chance of executing it with the resources that they have. If this feels personal, it's because it is for so many of us. The hard truth is that the vast majority of well formulated strategies fail, with some studies showing that the failure rate is as high as 90%. But it's not for the reasons you might think. Today, we are going to break down the number one reason ever the best strategies die, and more importantly, how you can actually be the one to save them. So, let's talk about that sinking feeling. Why is it so very common? Because you can see the grand vision and you might be even believing in it, but you also see the reality on the ground. Your team is stretched thin, your budget is already spoken for, and this new strategic initiative feels like another top priority piled on a dozen of other top priorities. Does that sound familiar? This is frustrating reality for so many managers and team leaders. You are the critical link, the person who is supposed to turn that high level vision into real results. But you feel like you are being set up to fail. And the data backs you up as well. One study found that 61% of executives admit that their companies struggle to bridge the gap between formulating a strategy and actually implementing it. And it gets worse. A staggering 74% of executives confess their strategies aren't translated well into concrete actions. The result is a culture of strategic cynicism. Your team hears about a new grand plan and they inwardly roll their eyes, thinking, here we go again, another flavor for the month. They have seen such brilliant plans wither and die before, not from a lack of effort, but from a lack of connection, a lack of resources, a lack of clear answer to the question, what are we supposed to do differently on Monday morning? This is not a failure of your team's ambitions, and it's often not even a failure of the leadership's vision. It's a structural failure. It's a breakdown in the system that's supposed to connect the what and the why with the how. And this breakdown has a name. The number one reason great strategies die is what's known as the execution gap. The execution gap is that vast silent chasm between a leader's strategic vision and the organization's ability to actually make it happen. It's created by something I call the fatal handoff. Here's how it works. Senior leadership spends months crafting the perfect plan. They hold on an expensive offsite. They debate every word and they emerge with what they believe is a flawless blueprint for the future. Then they announce it with a ton of fanfare and hand it over to the middle management and their teams, basically saying, our work is done. Now go make it happen. This is the fatal mistake. Leadership disengages at the exact moment their involvement is most critical. They believe their job is to be the architect, the one who designs the blueprint. They see execution as something separate, a low level task for others to figure out. But strategy and execution are not two different things. They are two inseparable parts of the same job. Execution isn't beneath a leader, it's the leader's job. A strategy is just a guess until it is tested against reality. And if the leaders who wrote that plan aren't there to see it through, to remove the roadblocks and to adapt it to the real world, it's going to stay a guess forever, gathering dust on a shelf. It's no wonder why so many plans fail when studies have shown that 85% of the leadership's time teams spends less than 1 hour per month discussing strategy and half spend no time at all. So, how do we fix this? How do we build this particular bridge across that execution gap? It all boils down to three fundamental shifts in how we think about strategy. The first way to save your strategy is to redefine leadership's role from architect to master builder. A leader's job does not end when the strategy document is finished. That's when it truly begins. The architect can't just hand over the blueprints and walk away from the construction site. A master builder stays. They inspect the foundation, solve problems with the crew, and make sure that the structure is sound at every single stage. In business, this means leaders must own the execution. They need to treat strategy not as a document but as a discipline. This is not about micromanaging, it's about staying engaged. It's about leading the weekly strategy meetings, asking the hard questions, and creating a culture where making it happen is just as celebrated as coming up with the idea. It's about making it crystal clear that strategy is everyone's job and it starts at the top. When leaders are elbow deep into execution, they see the resource shortages firsthand. They understand the conflicting priorities their teams are juggling, and they are in the perfect position to make the tough trade offs needed to protect the strategy and to give resources to win. By the way, if this is clicking with you and you are thinking about your next leadership challenges, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We tackle real world leadership problems like this every single week. The second way to save your strategy is to build the bridge with an execution infrastructure. A strategy points to a destination, but it does not magically build the road to get there. You have to build that road, and that's your execution infrastructure. It's a tangible link between the big idea and the daily grind. It's made of a few critical pieces. First, translate the vision into plain English. A 5 year vision is a great one for poster, but your team needs to know what to do with this particular thing this week. You have to break the strategy down from the abstract goals into clear, concrete actions. If your team can't explain the strategy in simple sentence, they just cannot execute it. This is a massive problem, as some reports suggest that a stunning 95% of employees don't even understand the company's strategy. The second one, clarify ownership. A strategy without a clear owner for each part is just a wish list. Every single initiative, every single key project must have one person who is accountable for the outcome. This kills the confusion and makes sure someone is actually driving it forward. The third one, measure what actually matters. So many companies down in data but are starved for the right insights. You don't need 50 KPIs, you just need 3 to 5 key metrics that will tell if the strategy is working. And they should measure the outcomes, not just the activities. Are we winning the right customers? Are we keeping our best people? Is the new product gaining ground? These are the signs that tell you if the bridge that you are building is actually the one that is taking you somewhere. And finally, create a rhythm for review. The best companies have a disciplined daily or monthly meeting to talk about the strategy. And this is not a boring status update. It's a strategy conversation where the team looks at all the key metrics, calls out the roadblocks, and makes quick decisions. The regular rhythm is the heartbeat of your strategy, keeping it alive and moving. And this brings us to the third and final way to save your strategy. And for those of you feeling caught in the middle, this one is for you. You have to empower your middle managers, the keystone of execution. A keystone is the center stone in any arc that holds all the other things together. Without it, the whole thing will just crumble. In strategic execution, middle managers are the keystone. You are the direct interface between the top floor vision and the ground floor reality. Yet, you are often the most disempowered and overburdened group in this entire process. True empowerment is not a buzzword, it's a deliberate leadership choice. First, senior leaders must involve middle managers in creating these strategy. Don't just hand them a finished plan. Bring them into a room where it is being debated. They have priceless on the ground knowledge about what's realistic, what resources are available, and where the real world traps are. Involving them creates a sense of ownership that you just cannot fake later on. Second, leaders must grant real autonomy. If you are tasked with executing a piece of the strategy, you need the authority to make decisions. You need control over the budget and the resources for that part of the puzzle. Without it, you are just a message carrier, unable to solve problems without cutting through the layers of red tape that grind everything to a halt. Finally, senior leaders must ruthlessly protect their team's focus. A new strategy is just not another task. It's a new direction that demands mental energy. If the leadership says a new initiative is the top priority, they must also have the courage to say what is no longer a priority. They have to clear the clutter of conflicting goals and low value work so that their teams have the space to focus on the things that will actually move the business forward. So, that sinking feeling, it's not a sign that you or your team are failing. It's a symptom of a broken system, the execution gap. It's the gap created when leaders treat strategy as a document to be written and not as a process to be led. When there is no bridge to connect the vision to the reality, and when the very people responsible for getting it done are left powerless and overwhelmed. But it does not have to be this way. You can save your strategy. It starts by redefining leadership's role to be that of a master builder who is deeply engaged in the work. It continues by building a real execution infrastructure, translating the vision, clarifying ownership, measuring what matters, and creating a rhythm of review. And it's all powered by truly empowering the keystone of execution, the managers who turn the plans into realities. To help you put all of this into practice right away, I have created a one-page guide called the Strategy Savers Checklist. It walks you through these three core principles that you can diagnose the execution gap in your own organization and start building that bridge today. That link is right there in the description below. If you have found this video useful, give it a like and subscribe for more tips on how to thrive at work. Thanks for watching. Stop letting great strategies die. Start building the bridge to execution.